And we're live.
Speaking of notorious murderers, did you guys happen to see the O.J. Simpson clips that were recently released? All right, so I'm going to be kind of vague about some of the facts because I just don't know them. But I've got the general gist of this thing, and I saw most of it. Basically, what happened was at some point, the trial was in like what 92 or 94, somewhere in there, or whatever. A couple years after that, he does this television interview where he gives like the hypothetical of if he did it, how he would have done it. And he refers to this other character called Charlie. And he's like, yeah, and Charlie, he sneaks over there and he starts tussling with Nicole and she falls down and she gets hurt. And then this guy, he gets in like a karate formation. And Charlie's like, what, you gonna kick my ass? And, then the knife comes out and Charlie blacks out. And, and then he starts speaking in the first person. And he's like, and when I come to, there's stuff everywhere. And the lady's like, she doesn't even correct the first person thing because she knows she's got gold now. She's like, what kind of stuff? He's like, blood everywhere. And then he like talks about disposing of the evidence. And she's like, no, was your wallet on you or did you like leave that back in the car? He's like, oh yeah, I definitely left that in the car. In fact, I know for a fact that was left in the car. And then he pauses. He's like, I just want to say, this is all hypothetical. And it's just, fuck, you're just admitting to murdering Nicole Brown Simpson and that other guy.
Kano?
That
lawyer.
That was his that was the guy living on his property. Ron Goldman was the boyfriend. You're thinking of Kato Kalin, I think.
That is
who was
who I'm
like,
thinking of.
He's he was that weird
That's
character
right. He was
living
still
on.
alive. He was like a real life Pauly Shore or something.
It was bizarre. Yeah. That whole thing was crazy. And so he basically goes through. It's like a 5 or 6 minute interview, or at least the excerpts I saw, where Stern was like merciless old school Stern today, like going at him about this thing, like doing his O.J. Simpson impression. He's like, and then hypothetically, I turned her into a Pez dispenser. It was just so dark. And then she's like, the reporter, she's like, do you ever visit Nicole's grave? He's like, oh yeah. I go there and I pray to her and sometimes I scream at her and I curse at her and I say, this is your fault.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. He's like, he's like, this is your fault. It's your fault that your daughter's now doesn't have a mother now, and this and that, and then like I found out today that apparently there was an incident where OJ was at the gravesite, actually screaming and cursing at Nicole's grave, and the funeral not the funeral, the graveyard people or whatever call the family, and they're like, hey, O.J. Simpson is here, and he's screaming at Nicole's grave. And the family's like, call the fucking cops. What are you thinking? Why are you calling us? It's fucking O.J. Run! It's fucking dark. I feel like this generation of people, like if you're 18 years old or something, or you're 20, you're 25 years old, you weren't old enough at the time to have watched the trial and to know about like what went on. I watched that trial every day with my grandmother, and there was, even as like a 7-year-old or whatever I was, there was so much goddamn evidence. Just like off the top of my head, they found one of OJ's gloves at the murder scene with his DNA on it and her DNA on it. They found the other matching glove at his house, also with both of their DNA on it. There was her blood on his clothes at his house. It's just so much stuff, and it all got boiled down to like the guy collecting the evidence said the N-word a few too many times. It seemed like that was the main defense. They made it a character assassination of the LAPD, which wasn't really much of a very upstanding organization. I mean, let's be real, but OJ killed those motherfuckers.
He did.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he did. It seems like he's a murderer.